Alright, in this program we are simulating a simple game of snakes and ladders. Okay, so it's not a full game, but we're just going to kind of simulate the dice rolling motion and moving across the board and going up when there's a ladder and down where there's a snake. Right, and you've got to land on 100 exactly, otherwise you can't move when you get near the end. Alright, so we're using the game board in the picture. So there's 3 ladders and 3 snakes. And so I think this program is basically just a collection of if-else statements, so as you progress through the game. So we're going to have some random numbers generating the dice rolls, and if we land on a space with a ladder, so like if you landed on 9, then you would adjust your space from 9 to 34. If you land on a space with a snake, so like 54, we would adjust our space from 54 back down to 19. Okay, so there's not much to it. In terms of the problem solving, let's see if we can just kind of map out what we want to do here. So I would say we probably have an infinite loop. Maybe we'll use black. Probably an infinite loop, and inside that loop, what do we have to do? We're going to generate 2 random numbers. Okay. And what has to happen is, I guess we need a variable to store where we actually are on the board. So we need a space variable, right, that changes as we roll. Okay. What I might do is maybe use like a temporary space variable and then only update space after I figure out what's going on. Right. So like basically I'm going to check whether I can move to that space, and or if that space which I would go to is a snake or a ladder, and then adjust my current actual space to the right value after I make that decision. Okay. So we'll generate the 2 rows. We'll make this temporary space variable as we roll, and then we need a series of if-else statements for all the different conditions that we have, right? So if we'll have the ladders, we'll have the snakes, and we'll have the finish. So when it's equal to 100, okay, and it's just going to basically follow that this kind of logic. So we'll generate the 2 random numbers, adjust the space variable, check and see where, if we're on a ladder, and then change our space, or a snake, change our space, or if we're at the finish, and then we can break from there. Okay, so might as well go to our IDE and take a look at what we can do to actually solve this problem with code. So as I said, just a whole bunch of, looks like, if and else statements here for the most part. So I'm going to need the random library to make this work, and I'm going to start on space 1. Okay. Okay. And let's start rolling the dice here. So I got to make it somewhat user-friendly here for the input. So I don't want to type something when I roll. I kind of just want to hit enter to roll. So I'm just going to put like just a blank input statement with not storing it in any variable because I don't really care. But as soon as I hit enter, it'll just basically acting like a pause. All right. Not please enter. Press enter to roll. Okay. And we'll make our first dice. It's a random integer between 1 and 6. not random.int, random int, 1 and 6. Dice 2, same thing. Okay. And maybe we should output what I rolled. Okay. And we'll adjust our space. So temp space equals whatever space we were at plus dice 1 plus dice 2. Okay. And let's print out our new space. So you are now on space. I'm going to just get a print out temp space here for a second, and then okay. So I just want to test to make sure this is working correctly. Remember, that's kind of the point of the problem solving here, is to just kind of write your programs in small chunks just to get certain things working. Okay. So I'm going to press enter to roll. Oh, what did I do? Random. Okay. Oops. It's not random int, it's rand int. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so I was on space 1, remember, and I rolling 2 4s, so now I'm on space 9. That makes sense. I'm rolling a 6 and a 5. So that is not working correctly. Oh, because I never adjusted my space. Space equals temp space. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but I'm just testing because I'm gonna adjust all of these in if statements here. So let's interrupt the keyboard and we'll try that again. Okay. Okay, so roll the total of 2, so now on space 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14, and 14 plus, okay, so then we keep going up, right, which is correct, all right? So the idea is now let's put a whole bunch of if-else statements and checking for ladders or checking for snakes or checking to see whether we're at the final spot of 100. Okay, and that's where we will make these space adjustments. So something like, so if temp space, so if where I was going to go is equal to 9, okay, that's a ladder, right? And if we look back at the picture, so I was going to land on space 9, but really I found a ladder, so I'm going up to space 34. So I will say space equals 34, and I'll say print found ladder. Okay. And I'm going to do that for all the different ladders and all the different snakes and everything. So it basically works like this. So if there was only one ladder, right, I'd have an else statement, and this would be the very end, right? So if it's not doing this, then I'm just going to assume I made a valid move, and I'm going to set my space equal to my temp space. Okay, so every single one of these if statements will have space equals something. Okay, and then it updates where it's going to be. All right, so I need a lot of these, right? So I need else, elif, temp space equals, so the next ladder is a 40. So space at 40 would go to 64. Okay, so once you got to the ladder at 40, you go to 64. Okay, and I got to print found a ladder as well. Okay, there's one other ladder, I believe, and that is at 67. And if I'm at 67, then I'm going up to 86. Okay, so those are 3 ladders. Now I need the snakes. So if temp space is 54, there's a snake. Okay, and that puts us down to 19. We found a snake. And there is another snake at 90. And that puts us down to 48. And the last snake is at 99. And that's actually really good that it's at 99 because you can't roll. Remember, you can't move unless you get the exact number to get to 100. And if you were to land on 99 and you were rolling 2 dice, you could never roll a 1. So they're definitely, if you ever land on 99, it actually takes you down to another spot. So at 99, it takes you down to 77. Okay, so there's all my ladders. Here's all my snakes. Now I need to check whether we get to the finish line. So if temp space equals 100, okay, I could say space equals 100. I don't really need to do anything there, but just so I'm printing out the right thing. And I will break the loop. And this will not be temp space anymore. It would be space. Okay, so there we go. So it's going to, by default, pick where I'm supposed to go to, and if it finds that that's a snake or a ladder, it adjusts the space to the correct location. So I think that'll work. I'll just interrupt this running program. Oh, always. There we go. Okay. So let's see if so we're starting on 1, now to 6, now to 14. Let's see if I can find. Actually, you know what? Oh, I found a snake. Good. Okay. So I went to 43, so I went to 54, so I found a snake. Now I'm on space 19. Maybe I could improve the input, the output to say I was going to land on 54, but I found a snake. Now I'm going back to space 19. But you can fix that if you really wanted to. All right. One thing I didn't do, though, is, and we'll see it, is if I get over 100. All right, so let's keep going up here. See, I keep going because I forgot to do the, you can't move if you're bigger than 100. So elif temp space is bigger than 100. So we will print can't move. Okay. And I don't want to adjust the space at all, right? It'll just stay where I am at that point. So let's see if we can run that and see if it'll work now. See if I find any. Okay, so 97. So let's see what happens here. Right? So I rolled a 7, it can't move. I need to roll a 3, right, in order for it to do anything. So I'm going to stay on 97 until I roll a 3. Okay, so I rolled a 3 and it finished, right? I don't have anything that outputs if I finished, so maybe we'll put print you made it to 100. And we'll check that. Okay. Oh, got it right away. That's interesting. And we'll keep. So this is a nice program to test. You should try to run it as many times as you can to see whether. So 98. So the only way I'm doing this is if I'm doing a snake eyes now. So 2-1. So this could take a while. All right. I could just hold enter down. Oh, there we go. Finally. Okay. And I made it to 100, right? And I stopped my program. Okay. You could get away with not doing this temp space and just using the space variable, but I just thought in my head that that might be a good way to solve the problem.